We're on. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Everything is finalized here. We're going to be on Zoom as well as on Facebook Live. And we're muting everyone right now, so we'll hear your thoughts, but we won't actually hear your words.
Right.
Perfect.
So our topic this morning is, the universe is in favor of me?
The universe is in favor of me.
Which is it?
Yeah. Where do you want to put the emphasis?
Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said the universe is in favor of us. And we do believe that. I want to start with an opening reading of his, an affirmative prayer that says, I have confidence in my understanding of the law. Oh, first, I want to start with a couple of quotes he has, which is that we are chemists in the laboratory of the infinite. What then shall we create? We must say that all thought is creative, according to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind the thought. Thought creates a mold in the subjective in which the idea is accepted and poured, and sets power in motion in accordance with the thought.
I like that.
And yes, and then this prayer is, I believe that no matter what experience I'm going through now, good will come of it. I believe that all poverty will be turned to riches, that all fear will be converted to faith. I believe that good will finally triumph over every evil, and that love will finally heal all hate. I believe that I have a silent partnership with the invisible, that this partnership has never been dissolved and never can be. I believe in the invisible presence of good in a universe peopled with perfect and eternal entities. I believe that all things are possible to them who believe. I have complete confidence in my knowledge and understanding of the law of good. I not only know what the law is, I know how to use it. I know that I shall obtain definite results through the use of it. I realize that doubts about my ability to use this law are things of thought. What thought has produced, thought can change. Knowing this, having confidence in my ability to use the law and using it daily for specific purposes, gradually I build up an unshakable faith, both in the law and in the possibility of demonstrating it. There is no doubt in me, no uncertainty rising through me. My mind rejoices in certainty and in assurance. I confidently expect that my word shall not return unto me void. And so it is.
Well, I'd like to start off by saying Happy Father's Day to all of you out there that are fathers. And that's not just the ones who are listening here, but to the audience in general. And it's funny, I was thinking about that this morning as I was having my coffee out, and I went outside to watch our crows. We have a pair of crows that are nested, and watching them parent. And what was interesting was that mama was sitting on the eggs and the dad was out hunting. And I thought how different the roles and how important both are. And you can have one, well, you can't have one without at least one of the other. But it's such a challenging job to be a parent. And it's one of those jobs that you do, unfortunately, like the crows, not necessarily knowing how to do it, nor having it necessarily even work, but you do the best you can. And I want to say congratulations for all of you who had the courage to say yes and make it work.
Thank you. Yes. We honor all the fathers today.
But now on to our topic.
But now on to our topic. Yes. The universe is in favor of me. And this law that Ernest Holmes was talking about, of course, is what we call the law of mind. And that mind is with a capital M, meaning the mind of God, that our minds are a part of. And so we can't think a thought that doesn't go into the mind of God, that isn't already in the mind of God. And so, as he said, the powerfulness in your thought to create depends on the impulse, the direction, can't remember all of his words, but it has to do with how much um, energy and belief that you have in it, as far as how effective it is. And so it's it's something that all of us need to use right now. And as I started to think about this, sometimes it seems selfish if we are all focused on my life, improving my life. And of course, we don't do just that. We treat for other people, and we treat for our center, and we treat for the universe, our country. But sometimes it can feel that way when we are focusing on creating and maintaining ideal health for ourselves, creating and maintaining and increasing our flow of good from the universe, creating and maintaining loving relationships. So sometimes it seems like it's all about me. But what I'd like to remind you of is every loving, positive thought you think, because it goes into the mind of God, is going into everywhere, is blessing every level of creation, every level and all the realms of creation. So every time we stay positive, when the world is negative, we are lifting the consciousness of our planet, our race, and even the universe. So keep that in mind. It can be difficult when all the news is bad news and everything is scary. And yet this is when we do our work. We are chemists in the laboratory of life. And so it's incumbent upon us. And I think all of you that are in our watching audience here on Zoom, I know you are this way. You you lift me up when I talk to you, because you are all so positive and lifting up the planet, yourself and your friends, your relatives, everybody. And I do so appreciate that. You're such good company. It's wonderful to be around you and talk to you.
I was thinking about earlier this morning about a metaphor or an analogy that seemed like it made sense to me anyway, but that's water. Water is interesting because water will take whatever shape, will fill whatever container you put it in. And thoughts are a lot like water in that they will occupy the entire container or as much of the container, and it makes no difference what the shape of the container is. But also, thoughts don't just go away any more than if you've ever had a water leak anywhere. What's the most amazing thing about a water leak is it will travel enormous distances to find a place to settle. And it will go anywhere and everywhere. It has absolutely no rules. And I thought, that's like thought. You send a thought out into the universe and you think it's done. It's not. But more than that, if you have a drop of water, you can walk around it, you can ignore it, and you can wait for it to evaporate. When you have a bucket of water, you really can't do that. And so there's a lot more power in a bucket than there is in a drop. And when I see all of my friends here on Facebook and on our Zoom, I think we've got a bucket of water here. We have a bucket of thought. And that thought will take shape and continue on wherever it's needed and wherever it will make a difference. And I think it's important for us to know that the shape of our thought will change and will change the world that we live in as a result of having existed. So if thoughts are things, and I believe they are, and that's what Ernest Holmes is saying, then they continue to have a life of their own and continue, and they tend to be connected to other thoughts, which is the bucket.
I love that metaphor. I love that metaphor of the water going everywhere. Well, so how do we do this when we're in the middle of a pandemic? Well, first of all, we visualize and think about the pandemic being over. We visualize and think about, pray about the finding an immunization for it. We visualize, think about, pray about, meditate about ourselves staying well. And as we do that, we help create that in the universe. What do we do about the situation with the Black Lives Matter right now and looking at our white privilege? Well, we do the same thing. We visualize, we see it being solved, the end of systemic racism in our country and in the world. We just started our book study this week about me and white supremacy. And I realized I had thought about white supremacy as being just in our country. I really had. And I've traveled around the world, but you certainly don't see it in Europe. But you do see it in Africa because of colonialization. And I realized, yeah, it is worldwide. And dumb me, I was just my there's a word for it that I can't think of. When you colloquialism? No, not colloquialism. Anyway, but just thinking locally. And in truth, it's worldwide. But we can't change it worldwide. But we can be an example, and we can start it in our country. And this is a great book study if anybody wants to join.
I was thinking about this, looking at the protest, and what I saw were lots of people who didn't know each other, walking together in the same direction. And what's interesting is that they all hold an idea in mind, and the only thing that they're doing physically is holding the idea in mind and walking in the same direction, and then eventually sharing their voice. Now, what happens to that doesn't happen there. What happens to that happens in Congress, happens at the Senate, happens all over the world. So I think this is a great demonstration of mind in action.
It is.
That thousands and thousands of people have individual thoughts. The thoughts are in common with one another, and they get together, but they can't make one thought. It's the momentum of all of that thought. It is all of those drops of water in the bucket. But what I think is really important is that when you begin to make a change anywhere, you make a change everywhere. Whether you mean to or not, you do. And so is this march for freedom? Is this march for equality? Is it going to make a difference? It made a difference as soon as it occurred to the first person that said yes. And it's making a difference to everyone since then. But that's also true with every other thought. So imagine the pandemic, which we can't not imagine, unfortunately. But in the midst of this pandemic, as we begin to support and encourage in thought and mind a healing from this, we send out a message to those who have the capacity to bring healing forward to do that. And so there's a doctor somewhere who's being funded now because someone somewhere thought, yes, it's time for us to do something. And that person didn't necessarily have any medical experience, any medical background, or anything other than the desire to have this disease remedied. So I think both examples, though, are examples of your thoughts individually in your head are making a difference in the outside world, all over and everywhere.
Yeah, that's an important point. And so I'd like to point out, with the power of affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment or positive thinking, and this is so much more than positive thinking, but sometimes the positive thinking leads to action, and that's good. That's great too.
Well, the positive thinking is an action.
Well, the positive thinking is an action.
That's the first action.
True. That's true. It's the first action. Is doing.
It's an inside action that eventually will motivate an outside action.
Right. But not always.
True.
Sometimes what happens on the outside are you are influencing people, places, and things. You are influencing circumstances that come together to create the outcome that you visualized. You see what I mean? For example, sometimes when you treat for your health and your health gets better, you may not have done anything except doing the treatment, which is a something, doing the positive prayer. That is a something. And then the body heals. So sometimes it doesn't take the moving your feet, although we usually say treat and move your feet, move in the direction of the thing that you would like to see happen. And as Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah, on a fairly regular basis, I like to go through on the right side of my Facebook page. There shows everybody that's right now currently online, and everybody's picture is there. So I look at the pictures and I think, who would benefit from, who's the person today that if I were to connect with them and say something positive would be valuable. I can't speak to all 5,000 people except on a generalized note. And so I'll pick somebody. But what's interesting is I'll pick one person and I'll wish them an extraordinary day. And I will get back a message within minutes that says, oh my God, you have no idea how much I need that. And what was going on for me today in my life and how perfect that exact statement was. And see, but what we need to do is to be willing to say, yes, I will love out loud after having said, yes, I'm willing to love from within, and then select who we want to share our love with and watch it go, watch it expand. And not everyone every time responds favorably. I mean, that's why some people have blocked me, but no, I haven't been blocked for sending positive messages. But the bottom line is thinking about your thoughts having power. But I want to go back to our topics. I think we've migrated in a nice way to, is the universe in favor of you? And as I was watching the crows, I got to thinking about, in fact, I wrote a Science of Mind magazine article about the crows. And the crows, they have their nest way, way up in the top of the tree, the very top of the tree.
Big tree.
And it's a huge tree. And during the storms, those branches just wave. I think, my God, why would you do that? And the crow, the male crow, Cornelius, he told me, he said, well, the reason we do this is because there are creatures that would kill us if they could. And we want to see them as they're climbing the tree to get to us. And we have a lot of time then to dive bomb and attack them and scare them away. And I said, but why so high then? He said, and the other reason is because we can see any predators in the sky, and we can take precautionary measures if we need to. And I said, well, that looks to me like then you're a victim, that the universe is not in favor of you. And Cornelius, because he's well-spoken, said, excuse me, I have the most extraordinary wings. I can fly faster than the birds of prey. I have a beak sharp enough that no squirrel will ever decide he wants to climb too far once I've seen him. And so it looks like the universe has given me exactly what I need, all of what I need, for me to be able to survive and to thrive. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? So Cornelius is a pretty smart crow. But what I thought about when I saw this was, the universe is not in favor of you like it wakes up in the morning and says, good, we love you today, have a great day. The universe is in favor of you because it's designed the chemistry for you to be able to not only survive, but to thrive. And the best evidence of that I've seen recently, because there's been so much stuff on the news about medicine and about coronavirus, is we are being attacked thousands and thousands and thousands of times a day by bacteria and viruses that our immune system says, not today. And our immune system kicks in and knocks out all of those, and we have no idea this is even going on. So are there viruses out there? Yes. And is there immune system in here? Yes. And isn't that the absolute perfect answer to this, is the universe in favor of us? Of course the universe is in favor of us. It's because it's equipped us to thrive and survive, and thrive.
Exactly. So with
Get your own quote, by
this
the way.
idea of using the law, using the steps that we know to do a spiritual mind treatment, which are basically recognizing that the power is God's power, that it's all God, and that I'm one with it. And then we state aloud or silently whatever it is we desire to see as if it's already happened, say, and then we give thanks for it and we release it. It's that simple. But it's not begging and it's not pleading, and it's with the idea that you are one with the Creator. So you are a creative being. And you know, when in the Bible Jesus said pray without ceasing, it doesn't mean be on your knees with your hands up, you know, by your bed all day long. What it means is constantly be knowing the good, seeing the good, expecting the good, contemplating the good, always. And that's praying without ceasing.
I remember seeing that a long time ago where it's written, but your thoughts are your prayers. If you have 5-minute prayer,
That's a song.
right? If you have I don't know. I know the words. But if your thoughts are your prayers, let's say you have a 5-minute prayer that says, God is wonderful, I am wonderful, I thrive, the universe is in favor of me. And as soon as you get done with the prayer, oh shit, another Monday. You know, like, whoa, boy, and that's your thought. Yeah, followed by, I bet the traffic will be terrible. I hate the cafeteria food. I hope Joe is not on today. Those are your thoughts. And actually, those are your prayers. As opposed to, I wonder who I will meet on the highway today that I get to sit next to at the traffic light for the next 10 minutes. And I can smile at them and they can smile at me and I will make new friends even if we never talk to one another. How will I make this an adventure in my thought mind so that it matches my prayer mind? In reality, the ideal prayer is a model for the thinking that we want to maintain all day long. And to be constantly in prayer is to be constantly in the mindset that this is the universe that favors me.
So sometimes it can be hard to think that the universe is in favor of me when we have hardships.
Yeah.
And we have a hardship in our family right now. My first son is ill and going through treatment. And so we're leaving this Friday to fly out to California to spend 2 weeks with him. And so sometimes when there are these hardships, we've got a pandemic, my son is ill, income has been interrupted. You can question if the universe is in favor of you. But we have to know indeed it is. I visualize the perfect outcome for him, for us making this trip, for the pandemic, for everything. And we just have to have faith and pray without ceasing. But we never question if the universe is in favor of us because we know it is. When we say that the universe is in favor, it doesn't mean you're going to live a life and never have any sadness, never have any challenges, never have any hardships. We have heartaches, we have heartbreaks, we have just really severe challenges. But you chose that. You're the one who wanted to come to Earth School, and it's a tough school. So, but the promise that the universe is in favor of you is that you're also an eternal being. You will be forever, even after this life. So this life is not the end of you. And we know from the time that we're young and we see that people die, that this is on everybody's agenda, so, but it doesn't mean it's over. And it doesn't mean that the universe isn't in favor of you. It's, as a matter of fact, hopefully you'll be ready to go on to a new experience when it happens. I know you will once you get to the other side. You may not think you are on this side because our egos want to hang on to every bit of life we can get here on Earth. Sometimes I wonder why, but we do. So when I wanted to tell you about that California trip we're making, because next Sunday and the following Sunday, we'll still do the Zoom, but we're going to be doing it at 10:30 California time, which will be 1:30 the time here, 1:30 in Florida. And for those of you, I know we have people in Tennessee and in New Mexico, you'll have to figure out what your time is for that. So that will be for the next 2 weeks. No, not necessarily.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's true. So why can't we just have one time?
Yes, well, yeah, that would be nice, but that's not the way it is.
Well, we can do better and we can do more together than we can separately. And when I say that, I mean that by being together today here, by being together in thought wherever we are in consciousness, we can support and encourage each other so that we can have our state of mind be a prayerful state. And we can intervene for one another also at the level of consciousness. We think we're separated by bodies because it looks that way. But I know when I was talking earlier about going to somebody on Facebook and saying, I hope you're having a good day, or I wish you well, and that person coming back and saying, how did you know? Mm-hmm. Our mind is much bigger and goes many more places than we realize it does. And so when we reach out in consciousness and join our fellow man and woman, our fellow creatures, then we are expanded and our universe is expanded. I'd like to think, and I really believe this, that the crows that live less than 500 feet away from us are my crows, and I'm their people, and that we're one, and that we can actually have conversations, as I do with the lizards, as I do with everything. And as we do that more and more, we recognize our in commonness, we recognize that oneness of thought. We become so much more than we imagined ourselves capable of being.
So I also want to remind all of you at this time that our practitioners
Yes.
who are experts in doing spiritual mind treatment and have had at least 4 years, many of them, many more than 4 years of classes, our Science of Mind accredited classes, have offered their services for free during this time. And so call them. Their phone numbers on the website. They're on every email I send out weekly. So call them if you have a need or you feel you can't do it for yourself right now. You want some extra oomph, some extra power. We call each other. Right. We call each other when we want treatment, me and the practitioners. And so I urge you to take advantage of that.
And so for those of you who don't know who we are, other than that we're Judith and Bob, or Bob and Judith, we are also the Centers for Spiritual Living, Palm Beaches, and we have a website. And you're also welcome to go to that website, and I'm going to show you what that is. And you can actually donate, if you would like to our website. And you can donate to us anytime you would like to. Please keep the checks under $5,000.
And you know, many of you have surprised me and started using our Easy Tithe program. You must have picked up the papers when we were meeting at the center, and some of you are using them now. And we really, really appreciate it. I want to tell you how much we appreciate that.
It makes a difference, everything that you do, because whether you know it or not, having a center like we do is expensive, and you're funding it. The reason that we're here today is because you're here, and you make a difference at every level. So we want to thank you for that, for your contributions to make this true. Now I'm starting to sound like PBS, which I also support. Yeah. Even though I would wish they would talk a little less about money. I understand after looking at our budget now that we've gone on YouTube or have gone on the Zoom, like, oh my God, how will we do this? And the truth is, we'll do this with you, and we're doing it. So I want to say thank you to all of you who are hanging out with us, who are participating with us, who are sharing with us, who make it possible for us to do what we're doing. You're wonderful and amazing.
And so let's close now with the closing.
I love it.
Prayer.
We call, for those of you that don't know what we do, we call prayer treatment. And the reason we call it prayer treatment is because prayer is a kind of mental treatment for the best possible outcome. It is affirming everything that's good. And that's what prayer really is. Prayer is not begging, as Judith said earlier. Prayer is recognizing the truth.
Would you like to close?
And so the truth is, we are one in mind and in spirit. We are one in body as well, even when we don't know it. That the chemistry of our being is a chemistry far greater than any chemistry we could imagine. It is the chemistry of the universe that is filled with love and possibility. It is an exquisite coming together of oneness in the mind of God. Who we are and who we have been and who we will always be is a divine intelligence operating in a universe that favors, loves, cares, and supports us every day in every way. Who we are is love unfolding, opening, sharing, expressing, and being. Who we are is more than we have ever imagined. Who we are is the adventure right here and right now. And we say thank you to all those who share this adventure with us. We say thank you to all of those who are today, right here and now, smiling from the inside at the possibility of a world that works for everyone, knowing that in fact it already does. And it is for us to discover and say thank you. We say thank you for this. We know this to be true. We release this into a universe, and we say again, and so it is.
And we know the universe is in favor of us.
And it is so.
So it is.
And I'm going to sign off here. Thank you all for being here.